Okay, so right now I'm joined by Jo and Sparky from Free Radio. How are you doing, guys?
Hiya.
We're all right.
Right then, so first of all, tell us how you got in to Free Radio since we're here.
Ladies first. I'll be polite, Joe. I'll pretend I'm polite.
There was a job and they said, "Do you want to come and do it?" And I said, "All right then." It's really that simple.
Was it really that simple?
It was really that simple, yeah. Yeah. It sounds as though it should be more complicated, but I've been here nearly 4 years now, and it was that simple. They were looking to relaunch the radio station and were looking for new people for the area and to give it a different sound, I think. And I've been around for 100 years now. So, yeah, they asked me to come and do a show and to start and build a show. So I came, and then we started looking for someone to join us.
And that's where I came along, I suppose, really, isn't it? I came along about a year after Joe started here. I got called, I was doing breakfast down south, and got a call saying, "How do you feel about doing a bit of radio in Birmingham?" Came up and assessed what I would do, met Joe for the first time.
In a pub?
In a pub, got drunk, had a laugh, and thought, yeah, this will be a game. And I've been here for nearly 3 years, yeah.
Okay, awesome. So, lost my train of thought. We can edit this out. Okay, so when you two were my age then, what were your kind of steps? What did you take for GCSEs? Can you remember? Or A-levels?
Let's not mention my A-levels because I did an A-level in dance. But yeah, I did performance at college, and yeah, I guess I always wanted to be a presenter, so of some sort. And yeah, and I did straight media at uni, and volunteered at the radio station the whole time I was doing that to make sure I had enough experience to hopefully get myself in.
Yeah,
I did.
Okay, how about you, Jo?
I left school and went to graft for this great country of ours.
Not a student lecture.
Yeah, and I left school and went to work, and so didn't take any exams to get here. Did a completely different route, I guess, to Sparky. Went and did hospital radio in my spare time for many years, and I guess trained there for free. It's like voluntary, as you know. So yeah. So I don't think any exams that I did helped me get in to radio at all.
Did you go to uni?
Nah.
No.
No, left school 16, went and worked in an insurance company. So nothing to do with
That's
radio
a big
at
step
all.
then from there to here.
Yeah, but I always knew, I kind of didn't care what I did. I just knew I wanted to go out and earn money. And for me, you see, I knew I wanted to be a radio presenter, so there was no point in going to uni because I didn't believe at the time that would help me. I believed I needed to get into hospital radio and learn there, and I didn't think uni could help me. So for me, I guess I just wanted to earn.
To an extent of that.
I wanted to start paying tax.
Oh, no, shut up. No,
Yeah,
you didn't.
I wanted to start paying my way.
I still pay my
towards
tax.
the NHS and libraries. I wanted to do that. I wanted to pay.
I'm with Joe, though. I don't believe that my degrees actually really contributed to me getting into radio. You know, it's helped. Like, of course, learning how to analyse in a different way. And I suppose in an academic way, you analyse news stories, which is exactly what you do on the radio, but in a fun sort of way, I suppose. So I suppose that's the only way it really helped. And
There's a problem,
radio.
though, isn't there? Because to do the type of radio that we do, excuse me, to do the type of radio that we do, if you've not lived, if you've gone to uni and just done radio, lived radio, wanted to do radio, you haven't lived. So what on earth are you actually going to talk about on air when you get into radio?
That's true.
Like, if Sparky's had other jobs and done other stuff and had a whole other life experience on top of... But we know people who just, their whole life is radio, so they're not on air. They don't do a presenting job because they haven't got anything to say, because all they know about is this radio world, yeah.
You can know all the academic stuff, you can know how a fader processor works and all of that.
Yeah.
But it's not going to help your radio career as such, because...
Well, it just means you have to work behind the scenes and that's your life. But if you haven't got if you've not got a life, you can't do it. You can't talk. Certainly the type of radio that we do, you can't do.
Because it's all about, talking about your mates and the stories, exactly like Joe says, like lads' holidays, uni nights out, initiations and things like that all come to be part of your stories. And then my group of mates, which I formed at uni pretty much, I owe a part of my career to them for all of the stories and stuff that they've given me. You've
got to get life experience. If
That's
your only life experience is sat geeking away at radio, You ain't got anything. You can't talk about that on radio because your audience have never done that, nor do they care.
Yeah. Okay, so we've established both you like presenting and you've always wanted to be a presenter of some sort from a young age. So let's move on. First of all, let's find out, Sparky, what what radio you went to down south.
I was working on Galaxy. It was Power FM at first, and then it became Galaxy when it got taken over. I started off just being a travel jock whilst volunteering, and that eventually turned into a job. Then when Galaxy came along, they don't really have dedicated travel presenters, or they didn't as their format. So they said, "Do you want to be a full-time presenter?" So I was like, "Yeah." And they literally I was the third wheel of a breakfast show. My name wasn't on the door. Like, the show was Zoe and Gillies, and I just sort of was the person that I was their stunt guy, I guess, or street boy. That's pretty much another way people get into radio. And then I made a name for myself, and people spotted me elsewhere, and hence I got called to Birmingham.
Okay, nice one. So you had to move up here then?
Yeah, completely moved my life, left my family. I've moved up here completely on my own. I've met a girl since I moved up here, but that was a big decision in my life. But then, exactly like what Jo was saying about life experience earlier, I'd lived my whole life in Portsmouth. I went to uni in Portsmouth because I had a job and I could I did a flat share with a mate. So it made sense to stay and do uni in my hometown. And then this opportunity to come to Birmingham was like, well, it can completely change my life. And why wouldn't you do that? It's a magnificent opportunity, and I wasn't going to turn it down.
Definitely. Okay. This is something you're probably both going to like. What's the best bit about your current job right now? The best bit of all time. Jo first.
All right, go on, Jo.
We do get asked this all the time. Why haven't we got a set answer for this question? Why?
Because we get to act like idiots and someone pays us for it. There you go. I'd say that's probably the best bit. I mean, me and Jo come in, we try our best to have as much of a laugh as we can every day. We research on YouTube, don't we? We research all sorts. We get to read through... And that's a job somehow. And I guess that's one of the wonders of it for me. It keeps me feeling...
It's really weird because we essentially get paid to have a laugh. Like, the easy bit is when we're on the radio. So between 4 and 8 is the fun, easy bit. It takes... I hate saying it, though, because then it just looks like we rock up at 4 and just laugh and go home. And it's so much... It's the hard bit is before we get on air. And it is hard work and it's pressured work at times. But essentially, we get paid good money to laugh.
Yeah, that is it. That is exactly it.
Yeah.
Just like you do now.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
So what is your favourite song? Because obviously you play songs on the radio.
Yeah.
So, and obviously you play songs and you play chart-related songs. So what's your favourite song? What do you like listening to?
It's so... difficult. I was asked once, Chris, to come up with my top 10 favourite songs of all time. And I'm not going to lie, I didn't sleep. Because I got into radio. One of the reasons I got into radio is because of how much I loved music. Like, I properly love songs and music and stories in songs, and I get really involved in them. And when you're a girl and you get emotionally involved in a song, how can you leave it out of a top 10?
Oh, no, see.
So if I have 100 favourite songs and I'm asked to whittle it down to 10, I don't sleep. So you asking me for one favourite song, Chris, I'm not going to lie, is mental. I can't give you a favourite song ever. Favourite song.
You can't nail it down to one favourite song.
No.
Not even at the moment.
A favourite song at the moment? Oh, no.
So just something Bruno Mars-y scripty.
Well, this morning I downloaded... this morning I bought Codaline's new single and Michael Bublé's new single. So you couldn't get further apart of those two artists. You couldn't get further apart from Bublé and Codaline. But I bought those two this morning. So you take those two if you want as my answer. Because I've paid money for them.
Yeah.
And I work in a radio station. You see, you thought working in a radio station, laughter, free music. No. I have to pay 99p.
A single.
99p.
Not even a promo disc through the post anymore. That's not happening.
Here's another thing while we're on it. Michael Bublé, the single, who knew you had to buy it separately? When the album's out, They do an album version, so you have to buy it again.
Ah, liberties.
Oh, come
Liberties.
on, Boobla, you've got enough money.
They just want the more money.
Oh, it drives me mad, Chris.
See, I find it difficult, Chris, because I really like rap and R&B, which is nothing that we play on free radio, really. We play the poppy versions of it, but a lot of rap gets cut out of a lot of songs that we play, even though they feature raps on other radio stations. But that's by the by. You know, I work here because I hopefully can still present for this product. You know, if it's like if I worked in Sainsbury's, I always use this analogy, but like if you worked in Sainsbury's, you wouldn't change all the way you shop. Or wait, this is a bad. Hold on. If I worked in Waitrose, it's all middle class posh food, isn't it, and stuff like
Love
that.
Waitrose.
But because she's very la-di-da, right? But you know, if it doesn't change you as a person, does it? Like I still like that music, but I still come to work and I enjoy the pop that we play. I do enjoy a lot of the music we play, but it just makes my music knowledge a little bit broader, I'd imagine. You know, when I go home, I don't listen to Maroon 5 or whatever that we play here.
Foolish boy.
Oh, I do love Adam.
Foolish boy, love
I love
Adam.
Adam Liver.
Okay, so what would be your best top tip to any kind of young presenters or young people like me that want to get into radio? What would be your top tip for them? What do you think they should do as their number one priority to make sure they got into radio? Maybe get a good job like you've got in the future.
Grow a thick skin. Definitely grow a very thick skin, because it's so hard not to be insecure doing this job, because you put yourself out there all the time and you get criticised a lot. You get people just throwing an opinion at you because they can, because you're out there, you're doing a public job. So that hurts. Sometimes you can go home and be emotional about it. Sometimes it just water off a duck's back. It's really weird. So that plays with your head, but just be you, be fun. Because the things that you're insecure about, that's something I really found out when I very first started in radio, that some of my stories, which I would never dream in hell of telling on air, were actually what exactly I should have been telling on air, because almost your insecurities are the bits that make you individual. So when you're doing that on air, you're communicating with you, and people relate to you, and they're like, okay, all right, and then it seems to make sense in your head.
How about you, Jay?
I would say, here's a tip.
She's going to say don't do it.
There's a really fine line between being keen and annoying.
True that.
Right, there's a really fine line. Like, you got to be keen. You got to get attention from people who might potentially employ you. But if you do that to the point of annoying, you ain't ever going to work at that radio station at all. And if you get an opportunity, help, don't hinder. Like people, I think a lot of people want to help for the wrong reasons. They want to be in a radio studio and want to get into this industry because of the perks and the glamorous side of it, of which there are loads. However, to get to... I need to be a lecturer. Yeah. However, listen, students.
Take note.
To get to the perks and the glamorous side of it, it doesn't happen by you rocking up and messing about. It happens because of a whole host of different talented people who have worked very, very hard to do it. And and it's a really difficult industry to get into, especially now because there's not so many opportunities anymore with the way radio's going. However, if you get into it and you don't annoy people, I don't know the right way of phrasing it, but if you don't annoy too many people, you can be in it, till you die.
You can keep your foot in the door.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just, it's that right balance. Exactly what I was saying. In parallel with what I was saying, like once you get your opportunity, it's not easy. It's not. Everyone thinks, oh, yeah, I'll just be a radio presenter. I just go on and just chat. But you have to every single day have something that the whole city's going to want to talk about. Like that is a pressure. And so it's not as easy as just go, oh yeah, we'll just go in the studio and just whatever comes up, we'll just talk about it. Because that don't happen. It is.
Some people can do that. We can't.
We can't. You've got to prepare, but then everyone's got their own style. So that's it. You've got to be a bit of a chameleon as well, I imagine, and just be able to adapt to every different style, because here at Free Radio, it's massively different to Galaxy. But you just, like I said earlier, whatever shop you work in, you fit what is asked of you, I suppose.
We've had people who want to come in and work with us for free, who have had the opportunity and been annoying and hindered our job. So they're not, we had to get rid of them years ago. And we've had people who have tried and we've opened the door and then they've not bothered, so they've lost the opportunity because we ain't chasing them. You know, if you want to work with us or for us, then chase us. But again, there's that line. Do not cross that line.
I think an old PC told me, my very first program controller said, if you need to eat, sleep, breathe, everything radio, right? So whenever you listen to radio, you're analysing it. How would I say this? How would I do that, right? And you have to say yes to everything. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but if you want an opportunity, you're dying for someone to say, yes, all right, you can do a radio show. But that means, yes, I'll write questions for a whole summer and not, and just give up my summer holiday for that. Or, yes, I'll do, you always have to say yes, you always have to be available, but you always have to be on point as well. I'm not saying, we're sounding like we're putting people under pressure. We're sounding boring, but you know what I mean? It is not as easy as people think. And that's, I guess, what we're trying to make clear.
Yeah, definitely. Well, if we've soon found a new job for you. If radio doesn't work out for both of you, university lecturers.
Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah, all right. As long as it pays well.
I'll take over your job. You can do university lecturing.
It's not that easy, Chris.
Right. So, moving on to the radio industry now, and this moves on to the documentary that I'm recently going to make. How do you think the radio industry has come since, obviously, we had pirate radio ages ago now?
How do you think it's
how far do you think it's come? How far do you think it's changed? How well do you think it's doing? The radio industry as a whole, not just free radio, not just commercial radio, any radio station, all radio types. How far do you think it's come?
One of my ex-bosses was talking about how radio changed and about how, when a group comes along and buys 30 radio stations and networks across the day so that, those 30 radio stations lose half of their presentation team. He said, why should I pay for, 60 jocks if I've got one who can do a better job than all of them? And he's got a point. Like, he has got a point. You just got to make yourself better. If you're better than them and you can prove it, then you'll get a job. I know there's not as many to go around, but I don't know. I guess that you just have to work harder. It's just different. Does the listener notice? Clearly not. Clearly they don't, because people are still listening to these radio stations that are purporting to be local, but somebody's in a booth in London. People still listen in their thousands, in their millions. People are still listening. So, the only people that can judge how radio is doing right now are the people who listen. And if they're listening still, then it's okay. It's doing okay.
True.
It's a battle. It's a war. It's a very different industry. I mean, I know people who have become really ill, like stress, breakdowns, because they can't let go of how radio used to be. It sounds so weird, but they can't move on. You have got to move with the times. You've got to change, and you've got to move with the times, because this industry does not care a jot about you as a person. It doesn't, because there's somebody better around the corner who's prepared to do it cheaper.
Who's standing in the line waiting. Exactly.
And so you have to... It's changed a lot. But like I say, if people are still listening, then it can't have changed for the worse.
I agree with that. I do agree with that. Like, although in the time I've worked in radio, I think my career is about 8 years now, the industry has shrunk 70%, which is daunting to anyone who wants to get into radio. It's daunting because, like Joe said, there's just less jobs because they've made these super stations, they've narrowed down network areas, and that's how it's happening. And for me, I just feel it's only going to naturally progress to eventually drive shows being networked and breakfast shows being networked, because exactly like what Joe said, they want to save money.
The worst thing, I guess, and this is from an industry point of view rather than a public point of view, is there's no training ground really anymore. You can't... You used to join a radio station and do overnights because it didn't matter if you messed up. And so you could learn how to do it. You could learn how to be a radio presenter by doing a night shift because, only 1,000 people listening and it didn't matter. No one's going to die if you mess up. So, but I don't know where these people learn how to do it anymore. I don't know where the opportunity is. But I ain't complaining about that because I've already I'm already here. So,
True.
you know, I guess the trial for people who want to get into the industry now is finding out where to learn the trade.
I think that,
And I don't know what the answer to that. I don't know what that is.
I think that in terms of learning how to get in, I think it depends on the area you're in to learn. Because the area I'm in Milton Keynes, there's a lot of opportunity to learn how to get into radio industry and how to make good contacts. Whereas if you're from an area, say, in Birmingham, maybe, there's not maybe as many opportunities to learn and how to get in.
It's like, it's catch-22. We won't put somebody on air if they've not got experience. But how do they get experience without going on air?
It's the same as uni. It's exactly the same as people going to uni, getting a degree, and then going, oh, I haven't got any job experience in my craft, but I've got a piece of paper that says I'm good at it, and that's the difference. And I mean, the state of the industry, I don't know. I think it's good. I think there's more opportunities in radio these days, as in not work-wise, but there's more opportunities for you to make contact with your listener. I mean, with Twitter, with Facebook, with other radio stations using cameras in the studio to do stuff live on air. I think that's brilliant for radio, for the progression of it. Obviously, digitally, it's becoming more accessible to the listener, and you feel like, we have much more of a relationship, I imagine, with our listeners than before things like Twitter were around and Facebook pages, because therefore we can carry on the show 24 hours, like we can be posting Facebooks in the morning and people can interact with us, and then we can use that on the show later, but still it's the show doesn't have to go away, it's not just between the hours of 4 and 8. So that's where the industry's grown and gives more of an opportunity to interact with the audience.
And that can only be a good thing.
Yeah,
exactly.
In terms of advertising with companies as well, do you think that's an important tool? Do you think radio is growing as an important tool for advertising?
Well, I mean, that's what keeps the radio stations like this going. I mean, without advertising, we'd have no revenue, we'd have nothing to pay the jocks with. So that's how it works. But I think there's lots more commercial opportunities, and we're doing more and more things, and with clients, and we often do client-based things, don't we, on air?
Definitely. Okay, cool. Right, we're going to have a quiz now on the songs.
Hooray!
Oh, we love a quiz.
On the songs that you guys play.
All right.
So let's see how well you know the songs in
Come
which
on
you
then,
play.
Chris.
So you're going against each other now.
Head to head?
Head to head.
Oh, we're well
going against each
competitive.
other.
This is going to go one way.
Right. Okay. The question is, how much do you two know about the songs that you play? That's the question. Most important question. 2 questions I'm going to ask you. So not a lot of questions.
Each?
No, 2 questions each, yeah.
Right, cool.
No, they're the same question, but for both of you.
Cool.
Okay.
It's good for you. I was never good at maths. Right. What went to number 1 on the week beginning the 18th of March? Joe first. It's a good job I researched this, because I wouldn't have a clue.
I'm going to go...
So it wasn't long away.
We're going to go with the Saturdays.
The Saturdays.
The Saturdays...
Oh, why are we waiting? We are suffocating song that they do.
The Saturdays and Sean
Shona
Paul.
Parla. Yep. No, I don't think it's that. I think it's PJ and Duncan, Let's Get Ready to Rumble.
Okay.
If not, it's Justin Timberlake, Mirrors, but there you go.
Okay. We'll find out the answer after the next one. So the next question, I'm going to start with Sparky this time.
Oof.
What single went to number 2 week beginning the 18th of March?
I think I've just given my 2 answers, which are right. I'm going to say Mirrors, Justin Timberlake.
I'll give you a clue. One of them answers you said was right. The other one was wrong.
Okay. So that's PJ and Duncan didn't go to number 2, they went to number 1. So I'm imagining that was right for the number 1 spots, and then number 2.
So they will have knocked Timbers off.
Remember, it's week beginning the 18th of March.
Okay, so right, that's Justin Timberlake, Mirrors was the answer to the first question. The answer to the second question, what went to number 2? I don't think it is a Saturday. That's recently been number 1.
I think that was before that, though.
No, Don't know.
Don't know.
I'm going to go with Timberlake Mirrors was the first one, and Timberlake Mirrors. Oh no, same week, innit?
Same week.
And Saturdays.
And the Saturday's number 2.
God, I don't know.
Oh, look at this. Look at the geniuses.
Clearly, you don't do that much research.
Well, we don't do the chart, do we?
We're not a chart, babe. We're not a music show.
You definitely play both of these songs. The answer to the first question, you were right, was Justin Timberlake and Mirrors.
Right.
Nice.
That's the second then.
So what went to number 2? What did Timbers put to number 2? Got to be Saturdays.
It's not a Saturdays. If it's not that, it's...
Bruno Mars.
Nope.
Oh,
Taylor Swift.
Bastille.
Nope.
Taylor Swift then.
No. I'll give you a clue. It was a single for Comic Relief.
Oh,
That's giving it away.
1D.
One Direction.
One Direction, one way or another.
See, I've got a mental block on 1D for some reason. It just sort of like just blocks them out.
Nice, good quiz.
Definitely. Right, okay, so we're now going to have a general quiz. Now, I ask this to everyone that I interview. So far it's been quite successful. Not many people have managed to get the answers. It's mixed with a bit of history, a bit of sport. And then the last question is you guys get to ask me a question, which I always fail at.
Right.
So, let's start with Joe first. First question, what year did the Titanic set sail and sink?
This is mine.
Why don't you ask me?
Do you know this?
Yeah.
I'm going to go...
We could be here for some time.
Yeah, we really could. I'm going to go... Work something out. Hang on. This is good radio.
Hey, see, she's Googling.
No, I'm not Googling. I'm just getting a calculator.
A calculator?
Yeah. Well, Saturday anniversary, isn't it? Saturday anniversary, isn't it? So it's just what was the anniversary? That's the thing.
It's really mad. Because
What do you think it is, Sparky?
No. Was it 50 years? Is it 50-year anniversary? 75. Right, hang on, 75. You didn't blink. 2012 minus 75. 1937.
1937 for the Titanic.
1962.
1911.
1911.
Was it 2011, the anniversary?
1911. I'm sure it's 1911.
100 years then, wasn't it?
So, right, we'll find out the answers later.
100 years. Was it 100 year
What
anniversary?
year,
think
second
so.
question,
I think
and
so.
we'll start with Sparky. This is a sporty one. What year did Lewis Hamilton win his first championship in Formula One?
4 years ago. 4 or 5 years ago. No, because Vettel's won 3 since. 2007.
Joe?
2008.
Oh! You might be right on that.
I have no idea. I'm guessing.
Right, and then the last question, you guys get to ask me one. Right, I'll tell you what, how we're going to do this. You guys can ask me one now, and then we'll do the answers.
All right, okay.
Just to take your mind
I'm
off
going
it.
to screw in with a Titanic-based question. Okay, which Birmingham city... sorry, not city, because Birmingham is a city. Okay, which district of Birmingham built the anchor for the Titanic? Oh, Chrissy boy.
Oh, you are going to throw me. I don't know. You've thrown me.
Okay, the answer is Netherton. There you go.
Neverton.
Okay.
I never knew that.
You ready for mine?
Go on then.
What animal is made out of steel to represent Castle Vale as their monument?
This is a complete guess. Tiger. That's a complete guess.
What is it? Was it? I don't know.
What was
It's
it?
A horse.
A horse?
A knight on a horse.
Oh, there you go.
Castle Vale Knight. It's the knight of the castle. The knight of the Vale.
Answers. I need to know.
I
if
should
I'm
have
right.
known that because I should have known that.
Oh, come on, Chris. Right, we need our answers.
Right,
Come on,
answers. Right. The year that the Titanic set sail and sink was 1912.
It was 100 years. It was. I knew it was 2012 was the anniversary.
Shitter. All right. Well, see, Jo knew she was counting back, but she didn't know how many years she was counting back.
And the year that Lewis Hamilton, this is going to make someone very happy, won his first championship was 2007.
All right, I'm happy with that.
So that's all done, and I got both mine wrong.
Yeah, come on,
Yeah, Duns, Chris, Duns.
But I've got years to learn yet.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah,
done.
I've got years. I can be let off. For
And
that
to be fair, we probably wouldn't have been able to give you the answers to our questions about 2 weeks ago. We've just been doing a load of research for a feature we're going to do on the show in a few weeks. So.